Look at the people around us. They are not getting tired. Neither am I. Welcome to the GMS magazine at Spiel 2022. Let's get on. Mizo Games is a company that I've been very interested in for a while. They have some really interesting games, and right now at SN we have Run Animals Run, which is as much a board game as it is a warning for environmental disaster. And I have the wonderful Ina who's going to explain a few things about the game. Ina, tell us, what is this game all about? Because it looks very simple, and yet it really isn't that simple. It's quite a game. Tell us about Run Animals Run.
So yes, thank you for having this interest in our Run Animal Run board game. So basically, we designed this game to let the player to have the chance to be one of the indigenous animal in Taiwan, which are decreasing largely in number over years because of the human activities sort of that intrude into these animals' habitats. And so you got the chance to be those animals, and then in the game you had to try to obtain resources like water, food, or nest, but still you need to compete with other animals. So all the animals, like all the players, you have the common enemies that is human being. However, at the same time, you still need to compete with each animals to fight for the resources. And this is the game to let you also be able to act like animals, and then to really be able to try to think more about what we are doing to our environment. Yes.
The thing I liked about the game when I was playing it yesterday is how you have, it's for 2 to 7 people, yes, which is quite a lot, and you have each animal. And the cool thing is, one of the cool things for me is how each animal is represented slightly different, and it got their own skills. Actually, tell me about what skills are these and why these animals.
So yes, that's true. So first of all, we have amiibos that represent each animals, which so each players can play with those amiibos, and the numbers of those animals sort of reflect the true numbers of these different kinds of animals in reality. For example, we are having much less and less Formosa black bear in Taiwan. Therefore, here the player can only play 2 amiibos. For the black bear, mm-hmm, and for the tree frog, for example, there's a little bit more in numbers, so that's why we have 4 for the player. But at the same time, we also have the action card from different animals, and for the action card can help you to obtain water, which is represented with this black square, food as a yellow square, and the nest as the brown square. You also can have the ability to have the resources and then to move to another place to find for more resource. And for the black bear, because it has the ability to attack different other animals, so that's why you can also move and expel the animals from the resource they need. So yes, and this kind of action card sort of balance the limited number of your amiibos when you play the game. So even though you are starting with different numbers of the animals, but we also balance the ability with the action card, so that each player sort of have similar situation when they're trying to survive in this game. Yes, and like I say, the black bear can attack different animals, and for the leopard cat, for example, it also has some special ability, because leopard cat is famous in Taiwan that it was steal a chicken from the local people. So that's why we have this special technique for the leopard cat to be able to use this action to steal any resource it needs from the resource bank, for example. Yes. And we also have tree frog that we know as an amphibious animal. Therefore, for tree frog, it lives in the water and is able to also turn water into food or nest as they need. So for each animal, we did design different kind of ability for them so that it creates more fun when the players are doing their action. Yes.
During the game, people are going to have some mission goal cards. The other cards that are going to give them the points that they need in order to win the game. Now, the tricky thing though is that to get those cards, you need to use the cards in your hand to collect the resources to match the requirements of the card. But at the end of every play round, these two dice come into place, and I have to say, it's horrible because they can break everything. So how do they work?
Yes, so we designed it like the player, before you play your action card, you have to roll the dice first. And the dice will show you a number and and some symbols. For example, the symbols means that it's either for destroy or for develop. In the way that it means, for example, here, number 4. So the map tile number 4, when it originally looks like just nature environment, but when we have this development sign, then the human will come and to develop this lane. Therefore, in the beginning, you have more resources like water or 2 nests, but at the end, you will have like less resource after the development. And if the same piece of land gets developed again, then you don't even have those resources anymore, and we will have a cement sort of to replace like a concrete jungle that human being create, and that cut all the animals out of any resource.
Which I have to say, when we were playing it yesterday, it was painful to see how suddenly all of these become full of cement and you cannot get any resources from there. And you see the animals languishing because the more cement blocks, the fewer resources and the harder it is to survive. And let's make no mistake, in this game, animals die.
Exactly. So yes, so each player you have to get a mission card to complete certain mission, which is to acquire resources. But because over the time when you play, there will be more and more land that has been developed by the human being, and there will be less and less resource available for each player, which means that it's even harder to get the mission to be completed. Therefore, if one player finish all your action cards, but you still cannot finish your mission, then one animal had to go to our animal graveyard in order to get all your action card back to your hand. So the player have to sacrifice one of the animals and put it in the graveyard in order to get the action card back to complete their mission. And if you have more animals to put on the graveyard, you will also lose more points, because the goal of the game is that each player have to reach 20 victory points to win the total game. But the game will also stop automatically if you have all your animals die. So in case you have black bear, and both of your black bear, if both of your black bear have to die, then the game will also stop, because one species of the animal gets disappear from the world, and this is like what we try to prevent. But then, if it happens, then the game stops, because it's just a tragedy.
It is. Well, and the thing is, what I found yesterday is that it does feel very tragic when you're playing this and you see oh my God, no, my frogs, they're going to die. I don't want my frogs to die. Like, you want to protect them. They were quite fun. How long does it take the game to play?
It depends, because sometimes the common human, so all the players have human being as the common enemy, but sometimes you also have to compete with each animal. So if you if the animals try to prevent each other to get the resource they need, it might take longer. But in total, this is a game that people can finish within half an hour or to 1 hour, depending on the interaction between the players.
Yeah, that as far as I'm concerned, makes perfect sense. I think, I mean, it looks absolutely fantastic. Yesterday we had a blast playing it, and we were just the three of us. I reckon this game plays a lot better. The more players, the more intense that it gets. Of course, it is available here at Spiel, but for people watching the interview afterwards, how can they get their hands on this game? Where can they buy it?
So this game is available. If you want to buy it, you can pre-order it via our Mizo website, or maybe in the future, if we can find a publisher in Europe, then maybe we can also have it in the bookstore here in Europe. But yeah, it's available from the website, from our website. Yes.
Very highly recommended. I mean, the message it sends is beautifully portrayed. The feeling of loss is very genuine as the game is played, and it would be great to see. Well, it would be good to see more expansions with more animals because it's fun to play. It would be horrible to see more expansions with more animals because it means more animals are endangered. So this is a very difficult thing to balance, isn't it? You want to make more expansions, but you don't want to. Well,
it is, yeah. So we really also hope that, like for example, children or teenagers, they can, through playing this board game, be more aware of our surroundings and also pay more attention on those animals and try to also like keep the animals' habitats as a friendly environment for them. Yes.
And I wonder, people out there, what animals they would bring that are endangered around them in the world, because I bet that this could be a very long list of animals, unfortunately. Thank you so much for the explanation. Absolutely joy having you around, and I'm very much looking forward to the huge success that should be Wrong Animal Wrong. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you. Have a nice fair.